Hey folks, John with A&J Outdoors, and welcome to the show. You're either listening to this as a podcast or you're watching it on YouTube as a vlog. Either way, again, welcome to the show. We got several topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about stealing spots while we're fishing. We're going to talk about my first deer I ever got. We're going to talk about some Texas news, okay? So let's go ahead and just jump right into it. What is stealing a fishing spot, right? If you're out on a lake, say you're out on a lake, you and buddy or whoever, family, and you're riding around trying to find some fish, and you see somebody over there and you kind of notice, right, that they're reeling some fish in, right? Maybe it's not on a lake, maybe you're on the coast somewhere, and you're like, what are they fishing on over there? What are they? And then you happen to, maybe they leave, and you roll over there, right? And you're looking at your graph and you realize, oh, there's a brush pile right here, or there's a rock pile right here, and there's fish on it, and that's what they're fishing on, and I'm going to put a waypoint on that spot, and then next time I come, if I don't fish right now, next time I come, I'm going to fish here if nobody's here. Is that still in a fishing spot? I don't think so. I mean, when you're looking at Facebook pictures and you see somebody showing the fish they caught, are you looking at the background? Right, knowing the lake or whatever body of water they're fishing and trying to match the background of their images, even more so on a YouTube video, right? Trying to match the backgrounds and triangulate where they're sitting and fishing. They still, you don't have the coordinates, right? So are you still in a spot? Fish around that area. Maybe you'll find something, maybe you won't. So that might not be so much still in a spot. Okay. And then there's YouTubers and folks out there that just give out spots willingly. Oh yeah, we were fishing on this exact coordinates at this time, and I clicked this little thing on my hat and it'll tell the whole world where I fished. Other people that are local to those areas where they do that might not like them doing that, but you're not still in a spot if you go to it because they gave you the spot. Okay. So what about going fishing with a fishing guide? Right. Now I've heard everything from fishing guys who willingly show you where to fish, right? To fishing guides who say, there's hands on deck and they're watching and make sure nobody's in any kind of GPS mode where they can mark waypoints or locations on a map, okay? What's ethical there, right? Is it okay? I think for me, if I went on I've been on guided fishing trips, of course. If I went out with a guide and the guide said, hey, do me a favor, don't share these locations, this body of water, whatever you're on, it maybe has limited spots. I've worked hard to develop these, and let's go fish them and have a great day. But do me a favor, don't share these out. Okay, that's I'm good with that, right? I've been on a fishing trip with a guide who took me to a lake, and I specifically told him, look, I want to learn this lake. I want to learn where to fish, how to fish, my setups. Now I'm brand new to this body of water. And that's a way to cut off years of learning, right? Instead of having to spend years on the water time, which everybody says what you're supposed to, and you are. But if you're brand new and you want to get started, and a guy's willing to do that, which this guy was, Cliff Hill, one of my buddies now. We've known each other for, 15 years or so. But yeah, he took me and my daughter. It was spring break. She was in high school at the time. Took us both to the lake, showed us where he fished, why he fished where he did. It was catfish fishing, so we were chumming, how we chummed, what we used to chum, right? And the rigs we used, okay? So, and he was perfectly fine with that. He felt like that was his selling point to, one, be family friendly. He loved to have kids on the boat, and to be informative, not just, hey, get in the boat, drive out to a spot, put your lines in the water. All right, you caught your fish. Let's go back. I'll fillet him. Here's your fish, right? He didn't want to be that. And so, to me, he's one of the best guys I've ever known because of that, okay? But I think you do got to take in consideration the guide's considerations, right? Where they want you to willingly just share all the info they provide to you in a one fishing trip. Yeah, you spent money to go fishing and get the fish. So there's probably some ethics behind it. I think, in the future, I haven't been out with a guide in quite a while. If I was going out with a guide and I wanted him or her to show me places to fish in an area, like down at the coast. Another buddy of mine's a guide. He took me and friends out fishing down at the coast. He guys down in Corpus area, and he willingly took us to, hey, so if you fish here, fish like this. Okay, when tide's doing this, sometimes you can pull in here and fish like this, right? He was showing us exactly where and how to fish, right? So he had no problem with me going there and fishing that. It's a big area, right? I'm not going to catch all the fish. Matter of fact, I never do as well as I did with the guide usually when I go back after the fact. Okay. So that's two different things. If I go out on a boat and the guide says, hey, like I said, it's limited fishing here. I really got a couple good spots, and I really would prefer you don't use your phones to mark where they are and don't share them. I'll abide by that, right? And really, that's something to clear up when you're setting up the guide. When you first contact them, say, this is what I'd like to happen, right? Take me and I get some fish, or show me how to fish this lake where da da da. And then you'll be under the understanding that they expect, your expectations, you were going to go back there on your own and fish the same areas. So, but I have something to work out. I know we talked about this on the Outdoors Crew live stream, which was every Monday. Now it's going to be every Tuesday. I'll have put a link to that down in the description below to the webpage, right? And there was talk of going on those big boats offshore and distracting the captain, one person distracting the captain so the other person could go in there and jot down coordinates, right? That's a little extreme, right? That might be still in a spot. That might not be just, I accidentally figured out where you were fishing. That might be still in a spot. Okay. But yeah, buddies. So I take a couple guys out. When a while back, years ago, I was running a tournament series, catfish tournament series, South Texas Catfish Association. I was the tournament director, and in between, we're building up a core of people who want to fish, because we were actually a club, right? And to fish, you had to be a member of the club. And some people were like, well, we're not very good at fishing that. We're like, hey, we'll take you out and show you how to fish it. So we take people out and teach them how to fish. So yeah, there would be times where take somebody out, show them something, and then, a little while later, you go back to fish that lake in that area, and there they are. But, you took them out, right? You took them out. That's a buddy thing. Joe Willis, you all watch my fishing videos. He's one of my main fishing partners. Anywhere we go fishing together, if he goes without me, right, to that buddy, he's going to try to fish that location. There's nothing wrong with that, and vice versa. If I'm without him, I'm going to try to fish those spots too. Those are our spots, is what we call them, right? All right. So that pretty much covers still in fishing spots. I don't think it's a cool thing to do. If you're dealing with a guide, I think be upfront with them, let them know what you want, and work it out. And if a guide specifically says, hey, no, I don't want you sharing the spots, this kind of stuff, make sure you get that information up front, and you can decide, well, maybe that's not the guide I want. Or, yeah, I'm going to take the guide and I'll just not figure out where the spots are. Something along those lines. Just do the right thing. All right. Let's get into my first deer I ever shot. I'm in Michigan, right? Living with my dad at the time. Point Agora. Those Michigan people know where that's at. And we're living the house. Well, my grandpa's house is there, and then there's a small camping trailer beside it that me and my dad lived in. We weren't doing awesome at the time financially. But I didn't know, because I was so excited about where I'm at, right? I was in suburbia, right, in the city, and now I'm out here in the woods. So I go outside and turn left, and it's woods, right? I go outside and turn right, and I walk a couple hundred yards past Audrey's house, my current wife, who at the time was living in that house with her grandmother, and there's Saginaw Bay. So fishing and hunting was basically right outside my door. So I started out fishing in those woods, or hunting in those woods, and who owned what? It really wasn't a thing at the time. You just went out there. I never saw anybody back there. But I started squirrel hunting back there, rabbit hunting. I got some stories about snowshoe rabbits, grouse. Certain time of year, we had a little canal that ran beside the houses into the woods where the wood ducks would come in. But I'm 16, my first deer season, right? Got my license. Got a 20 gauge single shot shotgun, real thick woods back in there. So shotgun was a good choice with buckshot, right? and 20 gauge shell, you can't get much buckshot. I don't remember what size it was, but it wasn't much. Um, and so I go back into the woods and I'm walking for a while, and all I can shoot is a buck, because back then, this is the early 80s. Uh, you would try to draw for a doe permit. You couldn't just buy a doe permit or get one. So your license was for a buck, and then you could try to draw for a doe permit. I didn't get a doe permit. My dad did, and my dad was out there too, not with me. Right, we separated, but we had whistles to let each other know if we got something. And so it's probably, I was out there before dark, skunk scent on my boots, because back then that's all we used, right? Nasty stuff. And getting lighter and lighter. And I'm sitting on a down tree, my back against another tree, right? Just kind of sitting there and just kind of watching the area. I have a little thicket off to one side of me. And after a little bit, I'm hearing some noise over there. You know how the squirrels are. It's usually a squirrel. But I start watching that thicket, and pretty soon I know there's movement back in there. And then I see part of a leg, and I know, okay, this is a deer. Don't know if it's a doe or a buck yet. And then another part of a leg in that. So, there's little openings, and now I can see some body patches. I still don't know, but finally it comes around the end of that thicket into a more open area, and it's a little 3-point buck, right? This is going to be my first deer, little buck. So buck fever absolutely is a real thing, especially in your very first deer. This guy comes out into a little bit more of a clearing. I aim with that 20 gauge and I shoot. Boom. The deer kind of collapses forward, right? And then comes up and starts to bounce off on me, right? Starts to run, crashing through stuff. And then he'd fall, and then he'd get up and run. And so the area I'm in, again, the ownership of the property is questionable. I've never seen an owner. Nobody's ever told me not to hunt there. There's no hunting signs, but I don't want this deer to run off away from me, collapse, and someone else come upon it, and boom, they got a deer. So I start get up and go after that deer, pop the chamber, pop in another shotgun round, close her up, running, jumping over stuff. Deer's running, falls, gets up, runs, and I'm just finally the deer falls, and I'm close enough for a shot, right, in my mind. And the deer has its rear end towards me. Its head is up and looking back at me, right? And so I'm like, okay, this is a shot. I'm just going to aim for its head. I don't care about, the horns or nothing. So I'm aiming. As I'm aiming, this deer starts to get up. And I just go ahead and pull the trigger. Well, the deer got up pretty quick. I pulled the trigger. The deer went down, right? I get over to the deer. The deer's not trying to get away, but the deer is still alive. So I quickly use my knife and humanely the throat, kill it, bleed it out, okay? Very exciting. Whistle for my dad, 3 whistles. Dad comes over. He helps me drag it out to this trail and goes and gets a truck and drives down the trail. And we load it in the truck and get home and hang it. In Michigan, it's cold out. Here in Texas, you don't see this often, but up there, you can hang a deer for days, right, depending on the weather. And it's kind of one of those things, people go by, they see the deer, hey, they got a deer, and I'm all proud of my little 3-point. And then we go, first we field dressed it out there where I shot it, right? Gutted it. Then we get back to the house, we hang it, and then we go ahead and we start skinning it. And that's when we realized that none of the buckshot went into the deer's body, right? So what we figure happened is my first shot at this front shoulder was low, hit that front leg and broke it because it was broken, right? Might have damaged the other front leg, I'm not sure. But that's how the deer would get up and hobble off and fall and get up and hobble off. Well, when he was down and I went to shoot him the second time, he got up and that shot hit both back legs and his other front leg. Because when we skinned him, he had buckshot in all 4 legs and none in his body. So, I could brag and say I did that on purpose to preserve the meat perfectly, right? Didn't damage any meat. That's not the truth. It was just I was lucky that he couldn't run off because he had 4 busted legs. And that's my story of my first deer kill. You got a good story about yours and you're watching this on the vlog, go ahead and post a comment down below. You want to call BS, you can go ahead and post a comment down below. I don't think there's any witnesses left. My dad has since passed away. So But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right. So I hope you enjoyed that. Moving on, we're going to talk about some now. I'm in Texas now, right? And so I'm going to share a lot of things about Texas while I'm here. I like to share news and updates from anywhere in the country. So if you have some you want me to share on here, let me know. But today is going to be Texas. And this first one is Texas Parks and Wildlife. They've closed oyster harvest in the Aransas Bay area. So Aransas Bay is kind of, when we go down to the coast, we'll hang out there. I like to stay in the Rockport area, right? And if you were looking out towards the ocean from Rockport, kind of that area out in front of you there is Aransas Bay. So they shut down oyster harvest, and this is not just for me and you going out there getting our own little oysters, but this is also for the commercial oystermen. The reason for it is the numbers, because they do surveys on the numbers of oyster in an area, and the numbers are low. So they completely closed it, and it looks like it's going to be closed. Let's see. Oyster runs. They don't give an exact date of when it's closed through. So I think it's one of those things where we're closing it now, and then we will continue to monitor it, and if it gets better, we'll let you know, type thing. So that's for you folks who go and like to get your own oysters, or for commercial oystermen or women. All right, next one, they're having, Texas Parks and Wildlife is having a scoping meeting to gather input on the spotted sea trout regulations. Now, down here in Texas, last year, about this time, actually February, we had the great freeze, right? Snow, freeze, power out. It was bad. And on the coast, it killed a lot of fish, especially in, well, what part was the worst? Probably south, right? Matagorda Bay, the southern part of Matagorda Bay, speckled trout being one of those ones that was hit pretty hard down there. And so they had changed the bag limit and the size limits for Lower Laguna Madre, right? Or Matagorda, not Laguna Madre, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, actually it was Laguna Madre, Lower Laguna Madre. They had changed the bag limits, right? They gave less fish, and they had to be bigger to keep them because they want to try to build it back up. So now they're proposing a new, for that whole area. Now this time it goes from all the way down there all the way up to Matagorda Bay, that whole area, right? So I don't know, South Padre up past Corpus, past Rockport, that whole area now is a proposal, right? And they're proposing a 3 fish per person limit with the sizes 17 to 23 inch. So minimum 17 inch, used to be 15, maximum 23 inch. That means in 25, 24, you can't keep them. Okay. So that's their proposal, and they're holding public hearings on that. So what that means is they want your input. So if you're in the area, the Texas A&M Corpus Christi campus, right? They have on January 11th, they have a meeting there from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay. They've got one in Port Isabel Event and Culture Center, January 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. Okay. And then on Wednesday, January 12th, in the aquarium at Rockport, their Harbor Education Center, they're holding one from 6 to 8. And then Thursday, January 13th, again from 6 to 8, the USDA Bauer Building over in Port Lavaca. Okay. So those are all locations. You want to know more, all you got to do is go to the Texas Parks and Wildlife website, look for their news media or their news releases, and that information will be there for you. But I don't think there's going to be enough to convince them not to do this. So I have a feeling when we start fishing the coast again this year for trout, that's going to be, that whole area, that's where I fish. So it's going to go from 5 fish per person down to 3. It's going to go 17 to 23 inch, and it's going to be a much larger area than the original just lower Laguna Madre area that they were talking about. So that's the news, what's happening here in Texas. Now, this part is for my vlog folks. This will not be a part of the podcast because I want to show you something, and that's hard to do with a podcast, right? You can't, it's not video, okay? And this is I want to do a channel highlight every time I do a vlog. Pick a channel that I like. It might be somebody I know, it might be somebody I don't know, and then bring their channel up for you guys so that you can see what they're about and what they're doing, okay? So my first choice, right, is a friend of mine, somebody I fish with. He's out of Southern Florida, and it is Wayne with Sea Pro Fishing, okay? If you guys were on or follow our Outdoors crew, our live streams on Mondays, which is moving to Tuesdays, that's news too. If you watch that, the last one, then Wayne was on there with us, right? Because we have guests on there all the time. So let's check out Wayne's page, okay? So this is in his about section. So he's got about the same number of subscribers as me. He's got a little bit more than me. He's got 2.7. I think I'm like 2.6 something. It's a fishing channel that shows my passion for all types of fishing. My goal is to create memories and friends, and I can share with everyone who loves fishing. Wayne, you need to beef that up, brother. Kidding. Let's look at some of the videos. So his most recent video, actually, he just posted today, right? The day this vlog is being posted is a week later than what I'm showing you right now. So it was last week on Thursday or Friday, he posted his catching hard fighting blackfin tuna, mahi, and all in one trip, right? He goes out there and catches all of that. So again, he fished off coast mainly or offshore mainly. You see the next one, snapper, mahi, some rigs that he uses to catch mutton snapper, which he catches a lot of, more blackfin tuna. There's some sailfish, right? He gets into, and then he does sprinkle in, right? That's his thing. So that's his realm. Everybody understands, hey, Sea Pro, 90% of the time I'm going to see some good offshore, but he does sprinkle in some freshwater. He does some crappie fishing and stuff like that. So those are sprinkled in there every once in a while for a change of pace, probably for him as much as it is for the audience, right? But I'll put a description or a link, right, to his channel in the description below. Y'all check him out. He definitely is one of my favorite offshore fishing channels. He should be at 27,000 subscribers, not 2.7, right? So check him out, share his channel out, help him out, right? Help a brother out, okay? All right, let's get back to what we're doing. So this episode, some episodes I might have a product to share with you. I told you that's coming, not this episode. No guest this time, but I might have a guest on the next one. Who knows? So, but this pretty much wraps up this live stream. We've gone about 23, 24 minutes. Live stream, vlog, right? Vlog. And so we're going to end it here, right? I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, I love the comments. Hit me with comments, good, bad, indifferent. Let me know what you're thinking about what I'm doing. If there's something you'd rather me do or not do, let me know about it, okay? Down in the comments. Other than that, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Beside it, hit that little notification bell. Those things will let you know each time I upload a new vlog. You'll be able to follow me. This channel's only got 57 subscribers. I'd like to see it grow a little bit bigger than that, but I'm not too worried about numbers. All right. All right, folks. Till the next one. Peace out.